everyone, so this is the first ever episode of Cooking with Crazy. Oh wait, that's not a compliment. Is it online harassment if you do it to yourself? That's my question. Alright, so what do I have going on right now today? I am making applesauce, and I don't really know how to do it, so I'm just gonna wing it. You guys can't really see me. I need to be further away. Here. Oh, this is a good solution. Do this. Then you can see me and what I'm doing, maybe. There we go. Alright, so not everybody has apple trees in their yard, but I do. I'm lucky. I'm blessed, so to speak. Now, yes, I am fixing my hair using my computer because it looks terrible. You know what? It just looks like shit. We're just gonna put it up. Anyway, so I have apple trees, but they're kind of shitty apples because they don't taste very good. And so, for the most part, they're not useful for anything except for cobblers and crisps and whatnot. But I found a bunch of them that had, fallen from the tree, and I wanted to do something with them because I feel like wasting things is kind of a shame. So, I don't know how to make applesauce, but I'm going to wing it because I don't think it can be that hard. Essentially, what I think I'm going to do is just boil them in water and add sugar and cinnamon or whatever I want to add. Alright, so the first thing I'm doing with these apples, though, is you have to skin them first if you're going to cook applesauce this way. The main thing is like, I was talking to my dad, and he goes, oh, so you're going to cook it and then put it in a colander. I'm like, what do you mean put it in a colander? Why would I do that? Or something. I don't know what he was actually, it might not have been colander, but I was like, why the hell would I want to do that? And he goes, to get the skin off. I'm like, why wouldn't I just peel it beforehand? So, I mean, that was always my intention. And I'm just using my potato peeler. The skin comes off really, really easily. I have this wonderful Xylus potato peeler, and I love this thing. This is awesome. It's the best shape to hold in your hand to do things like peeling and whatnot. And then it has this nifty little thing, which most potato peelers have. This is to get out like the nasty spots in the eyes and stuff. And so yeah, really like this peeler. And so the rest of it, I'm just going to cut up into, little pieces. And then from there, I'm going to cook it all together. And hopefully I will come up with a tasty concoction that I can eat tomorrow morning for breakfast. And that's the other thing. Like, one of the reasons why I wanted to make applesauce is A, because, the apples go to waste and whatnot. That's one of the things, but it's also very healthy too. It's like, this is fresh apples. This is straight from my yard. You don't get any fresher than this. And I really enjoy that. And I enjoy being able to make things from the things in my yard. That's why I like to grow things. Like, for instance, we made soup tonight, and the soup that we made was very vegetable-y. And one of the vegetables we had in it was the green beans. And I enjoy the green beans because the green beans taste good. And you make soup with it and stuff like that, or you grow peas, you can make soup or just eat the peas, and you get corn on the cob with butter and whatnot. I don't know that this one's fully ripe. But the nice thing is even if I pick up ones that aren't ripe or whatever, the sugar will overwhelm the taste and it'll be fine. And I'm gonna put, I don't know, I might experiment at some point with cloves. I think cloves might taste really good in applesauce too. But obviously I'm not going to do that this time. I got a little dirty. Sometimes they get dirty and you gotta wash them off. I always find cooking to be very relaxing as well. I guess I'll just wash them after I'm done with them. And it's a lot of fun. It's obviously it's work, but you know, you get something good after it's all said and done. And I think that's a really cool part of it. And it's something that you have the ability to experiment with and be creative with. And I don't know, it's just fun. And it's something to... I hate this little apple. Anyway, I don't know if the little apples are going to get peeled and used. But the big apples for sure. I don't know, it's just kind of relaxing. It's like meditation. You're doing something with your hands, and you get to see an end result too, which I really like, is having that end result, you know. It's like, what's the point of having the apple trees if you don't do anything with the apples? It's just a waste. The apples are just going to go to waste. I mean, waste in the sense that nobody's going to be enjoying them, which is the point of the tree in the first place. That's why my grandfather planted those trees. It was so that he and my grandmother could enjoy... Actually, I don't know if he planted those trees or if they were there. But the point of the trees were for people to enjoy them, is what I'm trying to say. And obviously I'm cutting away all the bad parts of the apples. And if we're not enjoying them because they're shitty apples, well, the hell's the point of having the trees other than they're there? So I like to do things with the apples and whatnot. So, you know, make apple pie, make, you know, all sorts of... Oh, shoot. Oh, crap. I put those in the... Oh, that's right. That one was wrong. Okay. I gotta pay attention to what I'm doing. I get to talking and I get distracted. Yeah, but there's no point in having the apples if you're not going to sit there and enjoy them, you know? And so that's what I like to do. I try to find enjoyment in all these things because there's so much beauty in the world. You know, there's so much beauty right here in my own yard. And I know that I'm pretty blessed to have the family and the yard that I do. And... you know I didn't work for it, but, you know, my ancestors worked hard for this, and, you know, we came out of, not we, because not me, obviously, I've never been impoverished. I'm healthy as a cow. But, you know, my dad, his family, he was, like, lower middle class when he was a kid. But his dad was a really, really hard worker. And my dad took his father's example and put a lot into his military career. So now, instead of being a lower class working family, I was born into a middle class family that is now upper middle class because we've, you know, gathered wealth and whatnot. My mother was raised in a middle class family, but her parents came from extreme poverty as well. They, both sets of great-grandparents, I believe, were farmers, and, you know, they were very impoverished, you know. That was the time to be impoverished, was when they were alive, essentially. Not that you couldn't be impoverished nowadays, but, you know, you get what I'm saying. So I feel very blessed that I'm not in a point in time in our family's development that, you know, where I am impoverished. I'm very grateful that, you know, I had ancestors who had the forethought to think to themselves, I want to make the world my world better for my children, instead of just, you know, doing the bare minimum to survive. Because that's what my dad's done. That's what his dad did. I'm sure that was the whole point of them, you know, coming over from Germany and whatnot, was to come, you know, have a better life. The idea is to make things better for your children. And part of that is the accumulation of wealth. And that's how, you know, you wonder how these big families with all this money happen? I'll tell you exactly how it happens. You start with poverty. You add determination. You get one of the family members who's really smart and goes, let's buy a bunch of land and start to develop it. That's how you get people like Donald Trump. And regardless of what you think of him, he's been a successful businessman. He's managed to accumulate wealth for himself. You know what I mean? Like, he has businesses, he has properties, he has all these things, and he's going to be able to pass that down to his children. Which, to me, that's like one of the most attractive things about wealth, is that you have something stable you can pass on to your children. This is why I'm like dead against like a death tax. There's some people out there who, and I've seen this before, I don't know specifically who, couldn't tell you, but there's people out there who believe it's a good idea to like do 100% estate tax, and you go look at that and you go, what the hell? Like, why? And it's just like, oh, so it wasn't good enough that you taxed me for my entire life, now you have to tax me after I'm dead, and I want to share my wealth with my children. I want to give my children the land that I've already paid taxes on. I want to give them the properties and the businesses that I've developed, and all these things. And I think it's disgusting when you have politicians come through and say you're evil, or anybody say you're evil for having money. It's like, no, they're not evil for having money. I'm not evil because my family was successful. I'm a pretty decent person. And my parents just happen to have some money. My parents happen to be currently rich, you know? It's like, when I say rich, I mean it to a limited extent. Like, we have a gardener. We hire somebody to come take care of our yard because it's too much for my parents, and they make more than enough to afford it. And I guess, in my mind, we crossed the threshold into being rich when we hired the gardener. After that, I'm like, that's a rich person thing. Damn. My parents did good for themselves. And the thing was just my dad was giving. He was hardworking. He gave it his all. He was in the military, you know, good guy. And these people who complain about wealth, it just drives me crazy. Wealth is not a bad thing. It's actually a good, stable thing. You want your citizens to have wealth. You don't want the government to own everything. That doesn't do well for a country. You want the government to perform certain tasks, such as law enforcement is a good example. I think law enforcement is actually a really good thing for the government to do. Public utilities. I do think that there are certain public utilities that work best under, you know, municipal sort of government control. So, like water and whatnot. Well, it makes sense to me that you would have that being controlled by the government, because then you have this situation where the government's not going to refuse service to anybody. They'll turn off your water eventually, you know, if you don't pay your bills, but they're not going to refuse you service for whatever reason. They can't. Technically, they cannot discriminate against you. So, yeah. Anyway, I just cannot believe people. There's people out there who just want to take everything. It's like, my family worked hard for this, and they worked hard for it so that they would have something to leave their children. You know, and it's like, why would you want to take all of that? Why would you want to take it all? What's the purpose of this, huh? You just want to make everybody poor? You want to take away all the wealth of all the families out there in the country? Like, that's kind of fucked up, man. Like, there's no reason for it. There's no reason for these assholes to get this money, you know? They just want more, more, more. That's all it is. It's just a grab for more, more, more. And I don't agree with it. I don't appreciate it. I think it's shitty. As all get out. I don't know. On to a different subject. How about that? Are you guys enjoying the music? My dad left his soundscape music on. Because he thinks that the dog needs to have music when she's in here by herself. I'm not sure if she actually cares. I come home, music's on. She acts the same as if I come home, the music's off. She is a little bit of an attention hound. I can understand why he would put the music on, but at the same time, it's not like she's ever, like, had a nervous breakdown because they were alone, like my sister's dog. God, my sister's dog. He's a sweetheart, but he is an attention whore. Holy shit. And she just had a baby, so he's all, like, butthurt that she pays more attention to the baby than she does to him. And, like, and I feel bad because the dog was abused when he was young, and he had very neglectful owners. And so when my sister and her husband got him, they had no idea that he had major issues. And to be fair to the people that fostered him and adopted him out, they didn't know that he had anxiety issues either. And that main reason was because the woman who fostered him was a stay-at-home mother. And so she spent all her time around the dog when the dog was there. And so the dog was never alone. And you can I think it's... Oh, shit, am I mixing this up? I have two different bowls here. Maybe I should put this one over there. But the dog was never alone when you know, he was being fostered by these people. And so they didn't know how he was when he was alone. So the first time my sister leaves the dog alone, he tears up the apartment, essentially. So he is the type of dog who you do have to leave, like, the TV on. You can't leave him in a cage because he'll tear out of the cage, like, you know, those big heavy-duty pet carriers that people have? Like, real thick plastic. He tore through one of those. It was impressive. It was a rather large hole, too. And he just gets so anxious. And, like, if you have to leave him in a cage, you have to put something in there with him for him to tear up. And the thing is, he's going to tear it up. By the time you get back, whatever you've put in there, whether it's plastic or a piece of rope, he really likes rope. But whatever it is, he's going to tear it up. He's going to rip it to shreds. And so my sister and her husband finally found that if they just leave him at home with the TV on and all that good stuff, they'll come home and their house isn't destroyed. And, you know, it's been a couple years since they adopted him. He's a lot more comfortable with them being gone now, I think. And any time that they leave town or anything, they just come over here and hang out with us. So it's not like he's ever in any place that's, like, super unfamiliar or anxiety-producing or anything like that. Poor puppy. I really don't understand people who would abuse dogs. It's like, I understand defending yourself from a dog. Like, for instance, unpleasant story in my mind, but my asshole ex-boyfriend was telling me about in high school, and mind you, I met him when he was like 26, so many years after this had actually happened. But he was telling me about how his ex-girlfriend in high school, she was walking home and there was a German Shepherd. And the German Shepherd, I think, had already bit her once or something. Anyway, the dog was coming out aggressively to attack her. She hit it apparently with her baseball bat and killed the damn thing. And the dog, and from what I understood, the dog was a very, very aggressive dog to begin with, and the owners didn't you know, control it properly, which is a real big shame. That's the other part of, you know, ownership of animals, which I don't understand, is why you would not take proper care of your animal to make sure that they're not being vicious and attacking people. Like, that's one of your duties as a dog owner, you know? And, you know, like, I've had dogs in the past who've had a little bit of aggression issues, and what you do with them is you make sure you monitor them, you control them, you make sure you have a fence, you make sure they can't get out. My dog is a little bit older, but she does like to bark at people, and she's very protective of the property and stuff like that, but we have a really good, strong, sturdy, well-secured fence. So letting her out into the yard is no big deal. All she can do is bark at someone. Now, if someone came into the house, do you think she would rip them to shreds? Probably. But that's what a good big dog does. What you don't want is for your dog to be a nuisance for other people. Now, back to the dog abuse thing. It just makes me so angry that people would do that to such a, you know, these animals, they're bred, they're created for our use and our entertainment and our companionship, you know, like, my little dog Jellybean, she would not exist if people weren't willing to buy dogs as companions, you know? Oh, this one might have wormholes in it. That's gross. Might be part of it that's good. But it just baffles me. These animals, they're created, you know, for our entertainment, for our companionship. It's like, why would you abuse something you created? I guess that's my thing. As human beings, through either interacting or breeding or whatever, we create these animals. I mean, for instance, my uncle and aunt breed Labradoodles. Labradoodles didn't fucking exist, like, I don't know, X amount of years ago. I can't even tell you. I would say 20, but I don't know if that's true. I'm saying that it's a fairly new dog breed that was created recently. We created that dog breed by mixing other dogs together and homogenizing the breed. And the thing is that if we didn't use dogs for companionship and other reasons and whatnot, they wouldn't fucking exist. You know, like the German Shepherd would not be the German Shepherd if we didn't need a tough, you know, guard dog. You know, it's a working dog. Whatever you do with a German Shepherd, it has to have stimulation. It has to be worked on a daily basis, right? But there's a reason why that breed exists. And you see them being used constantly in, like, law enforcement. And there was a lady that I was neighbors with up in Olympia, and she was blind. She had a service dog who was a German Shepherd. And the German Shepherd, he was super calm. You know, all guide dogs and stuff have to be very, very calm. The point is that that dog wouldn't have existed if there wasn't a need for the dog. Dogs, I mean, you can get wild dogs, sure, in, like, Africa and stuff like that, but, like, and you can get dogs that go feral, and the bigger ones tend to survive a little bit better, but it's like, in general, we create the dogs. All the dogs you, like, generally buy, you know, at the pet store or from a breeder, or even the ones that you get at the pound. I mean, those were all allowed to breed for the purpose of getting more puppies or dogs or whatever. And, you know, it's just really shitty to take something that you've created and treat it like fucking garbage. And obviously I have a lot of love and compassion for animals, and especially dogs, since I was raised so much around them. Like, my dad was not raised around dogs, and it took him a long time to really understand how to treat dogs. And I don't mean that as in he abused them by any means, but he was not very nice to, we had a little min pin who was kind of a jerk, but he'd be mean, and he'd tease her and stuff, and not abusive, but he sure as hell would tease her. And it was funny because you watch the evolution of a person as they develop, you know, in their own humanity when you have dogs in your life. And my dad has become a softer, kinder human being because of the dogs that we do have in our lives. For instance, little Jelly Bean. He never liked small dogs, but he loves that damn dog. He loves her so goddamn much, and she is the sweetest fucking thing. And so I totally understand. But the thing is to go from the treatment that he did to the little min pin, which was, it's just poking, poke, you know, annoying. My dad's super obnoxious, but he didn't particularly have like a strong relationship with the dog or anything, and so the way that he regarded her is, oh, she's a little dog. He liked her, of course, you know, not well enough, but he was my mom's dog. Wasn't that close with her. This dog, though, Jelly Bean, she's such a little sweetheart. She's so cute, and he's so submissive, and he just loves her to death. He spoils her, and he'll carry her around, especially if she doesn't want to walk. We took her for a walk one time, and he carried her like half the way because she did not want to walk, and it was windy out, so he put her in his jacket and stuff like that. And it's just funny. This little fucking dog, he's so fucking in love with her. What I guess I'm trying to say is my father has evolved as a human being simply from owning dogs. I view dogs as a very positive sort of force in our world. You know, we have dogs, and I think dogs treat us a lot about how to treat other people. Especially because when you have a dog and they are very devoted to you, you're not going to come across another creature that's ever going to be that devoted to you. You're never going to come across a creature that's as forgiving as that. I mean, you look at, like, fucking cats. Like, cats are terrible little creatures. No, they're not. I love cats, too. But they don't give a fuck about you. And if they do, they care about, like, one person. And for the most part, it's because they want that person to give them food. Cats will fucking leave you. Like, my little fucking tomcat. His name was Bonzo. He was a gray tabby. And, well, I think he might have been part Bengal because he had the spotted belly. And he was wild. But that cat took off at some point. Like, and I know he took off. My parents think he was hit by a car, but I know he took off because he would disappear for a couple weeks at a time and then kind of come back. He was leaving slowly, and I think he did enough hunting that he was able to fend for himself, at least for a while. He might have eventually got hit by a car, but I do think he wandered off first. I think he left me before he ended up dying or whatever. Also, the other cat probably chased him off. My sister's cat is an asshole. Was an asshole. He's dead now. I don't mean that in the, oh, he's dead now, yay! No, it's more of a, oh, the cat got old and, well, my dad hit him with the car on accident, because the cat would sit there behind the wheels of the car in the driveway and just sit there, and he'd wait. He'd just sit there and he'd wait. And it'd be like the last second he'd get up and he'd move. But it was always, he would move. He would always move. And so my dad gets in the car not thinking about it because the cat always moves. But I think he was probably in his Prius, and that car doesn't always make noise when it turns on. And the cat got hit. And, you know, they let him do his thing for, you know, about 12, 24 hours or whatever. They, you know, looked at him, and obviously he was paralyzed and not doing well. And he was probably 10, 15, 14 years. I don't even know how old that cat was, but he was an old cat, and the best thing at that point was to put him down. That's a hard thing to do. It's always hard to put down your animals. I think where my dad really changed, though, was, didn't have anything to do with the small dogs. I had another dog named Maggie, and I believe she was probably part German Shepherd, because she had these ears, and they stood straight up like a German Shepherd's. They looked very similar to German Shepherds. Except I think one might have, they were a little softer, you know, like, and she was obviously like part lab or something, so she was less aggressive. She was far less aggressive. She was not an aggressive dog at all, actually. She was incredibly smart, and she was incredibly hyperactive. And eventually what happened was we got this little fucking Jack Russell Terrier. Bad idea. That dog was a mess. And it ended up with my parents becoming so frustrated that they just got rid of both of the dogs. Because we didn't have a yard for the big one, and it wasn't her fault. My dad should have put in a fence. But they were stressed out. They'd already tried the electric fence, and she kept getting out of the electric fence. So they had to, my dad bought caging. But the thing was there wasn't enough space for her. So there was just crap all over the place. It was not a good situation for the dog, is what I'm trying to say. And in my opinion, we did do the best thing for the dog. Eventually what happened was, when we gave the dog away, we gave her to a mother and daughter who lived on a farm somewhere. And I thought to myself, and I've thought this several times after, that this is probably the best case scenario for her. Where she was with us was not a good spot. She needed more room to roam and to run and to play. And that dog was so incredibly smart. They probably could have taught her to do numerous things for her. For them. And like I said, I think she was part German Shepherd. This is why I think it's actually a good thing that we got rid of her. Sending her to a farm, like a legitimate farm, right? We sent them out to the farm, right? Yeah. No, like the lady and girl came over, picked her up, and they hopped in the truck and ran off. And I would like to assume that Maggie had an amazing life, and that she lived out her life on a farm, running around, chasing birds and barking at things and just having so much fun. That dog was such an amazing dog. And when we got rid of that dog, my dad felt so fucking bad about it. And I feel bad about this, but I don't. I don't feel bad about this at all. The only time I've ever fake cried, and it wasn't like I was not emotionally upset, but it was like, did I have to cry? Not really. Not really. We were outside of Petco, and this is maybe a year or two later, and my dad and I were outside of Petco, right? And there's this lady, and she has this little puppy, and the puppy is Chloe, my big dog right now, and the puppy, so cute, and she's got all this marbled fur, and oh my god, she's the craziest looking dog I think I've ever seen, you know, like, she's part boxer, part Great Dane, and she's got brindle, but the brindle is marbled as well, and so she has splotches. Actually, I wonder. Chloe, come here, baby. I don't know if she'll come. I don't really care. I would show you guys her, though. Oh, she's coming. I can hear her snoring. That's the funny thing about her. She likes to snort. All right. Chloe, are you a good girl? Yes. Chloe's a good girl. She wags her tail, right? Anyway, so I saw this little thing as a puppy. And, so I distinctly remember being in my dad's truck in the parking lot and being like, "You give Maggie away!" You know, like, I want a new dog and blah, blah, blah. You got rid of Maggie. You know, the best way to get things out of my dad is just to guilt him. Because the guilt kills him. Yes. Chloe's a good girl. The guilt fucking kills him. And he hates feeling guilty. And so I got what I want. He convinced my mom to let me have her. And he loves this dog. This was the first dog he really fell in love with was Chloe. Because she's such a goofball and she's so lovable. And he actually did put a fence up for her in our yard. And when we moved to this house, he paid to have a fence put in here. Which, it's like the best fence. Looks a lot better than the fucking shitty fence he put in. And the fence not even shitty. It's well built, but it's like, you know that no one professional put it in, right? It's like, oh yeah, the guy definitely just did it by himself. And so yeah, but that was when his whole mind frame shifted. I think the thing that happened with Maggie, where we had to give her away because we weren't able to properly take care of her in the first place, was one thing. But then, you know, he slowly over time became more and more attached to the dogs too. Like Chloe, he's so attached to her. He loves that dog so much. He treats her like a child. He spoils her. He spoils both the dogs. He's just such a giving person. And these dogs are just the sweetest dogs, you know. Like, Chloe's such a love bug. Aren't you, baby? You're a love bug. Yes, you are. I love the pets. She likes to cuddle. She likes to lay right on top of you. And it's obnoxious. But she's cute at the same time. So I let her get away with it. Right, baby? I let you get away with it, huh? I can't imagine why anybody would abuse a cute little face like that. Hell no. She's staring at me. She wants more food. I gave her a couple little bits, but she's staring at me. Those deep brown eyes. No more. I don't have any more, baby. She goes, "Are you sure? You called me in here. That's all you're gonna give me?" Oh, that's her right now. It's just like, you're not gonna get any. She's not getting any more though. So now, my shit's boiling. I'm just doing it like I do my fucking mashed potatoes. I'm going to just let it boil. And, well, I probably want that off, actually, so you guys can still see. I'm just going to let it boil till it gets soft. Probably won't take super long. And then I'm going to mash it and add sugar and stuff to it. Banana masher. They used to really like banana bread. I've lost my flair for making it though. Like every time I make it lately, it's total shit. And I'm not sure why, because when I was younger, I used to be really good at making it. It upsets me a little bit. Just a teensy bit. Probably just smash it right in the pot. But I do want it. Gotta get one of these to strain the water out. Jelly Belly, what are you doing? Come here. Come here, baby. Jelly, come here. You won't get too close to Chloe. She doesn't like Chloe too much. Oh, she likes Chloe. She's kind of afraid of her. She stays out of Chloe's way. This is why we got this dog, because Chloe has, issues with other dogs sometimes, and our little dogs before were really mean to Chloe. They bite at her jowls when she was a puppy, and so they bullied her a lot. So we needed a little dog who was less aggressive, so that they wouldn't get into it at all. And Jelly being super submissive, right, baby? You're also a little brat. Spoiled brat. Spoiled brat. She's like, I don't know what you're saying. I like the attention, though. She's a complete sweetheart. I can't even get a fucking grasp of one of these. I'm assuming it's done. I'm assuming. I'm gonna let it do its thing for a minute. I think I've cooked it long enough, though. The apples feel fairly soft. I'm assuming. I haven't actually gotten oh, there you go. Is that gonna be soft enough to squish? Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's super soft. Okay. So now I'm gonna drain them, because you gotta get the water out before you mash it, of course. I need a fucking one of these, because it's hot. You never want to burn yourself. Be careful. And so, dump it out. You know what? I actually do want the splatter bowl. I'm such a spastic. I'm so sorry. Alright, so the apples are cooked. They look delicious. And now for the addition of cinnamon and sugar. I'm just guesstimating here. I'm assuming this is gonna taste good, though. Everything I make tastes good. Even my shitty banana bread tastes good. I make really good molasses cookies. Let's put a couple tablespoons of sugar in there and see how that works. It is incredibly easy to mash. I guess all I really needed was a spoon. So, I guess I've effectively made myself some applesauce. I guess the last thing I would have to do would be to test it, which I'm sure it tastes pretty good because I put sugar in it and I put cinnamon in it. I'm going to mix it up a little bit more. My fork. Just make sure it all gets nicely even spaced throughout there. And I only used a couple tablespoons of sugar. So if this tastes good, it's fairly healthy, you know? So let's try it. I'll tell you if it tastes good. It smells really good. It's very tart. It's just a little bit more sugar. And then it will probably be golden. And I like the taste of the tart. The tart apples anyway. This is why I like this. I'm gonna probably use a little bit more cinnamon as well. And you know, when you cook, this is a nice thing. You get to make it to your taste. And that's what I really enjoy about cooking in my own home, is I meant to make things to my own taste, the way that I like them, not the way someone else likes them. And yeah, it looks really good. Put one more a little spoonful of sugar in there just to make sure it's good. And applesauce is so easy to make. It's hot as hell. It's really fucking good though. You guys should be totally jealous of my applesauce now. My applesauce is amazing. I'm gonna eat it for breakfast. It tastes really good hot. It's gonna taste good cold. I enjoy this thoroughly. I enjoy cooking thoroughly. And it's like you take something that was complete garbage, some little apples that don't taste good because they're super tart, and you get applesauce out of it. It's kind of magical. I enjoy it so much. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, I don't know why. I'm kind of spastic. Anyway, you guys have a great day. Alright, bye.